There's this great Romanian publication. It's called Freedom Alternative. I'll put the link into the description. I highly recommend you guys read it. Unfortunately, it's in Romanian, but you can use Google Translate if you want. And you can find an article like this one, which claims that at the Moldavians, even their brains have socialist architecture. And I really looked into this after reading the article because it's very fascinating. So, if you don't know, Moldavia is one of the poorest nations in Europe. It's got one of the lowest GDP. It's absolutely ripe with corruption. And not only that, I think it's the only European nation that voted for communism. They voted for the Communist Party after the fall of the USSR. So they really like communism, I suppose. Now, one of the aspects of communism are things like this. So if you don't know what this is called the Moldavian National Hotel. And it's an absolute monstrosity. It's a building that has 16 floors in a country where the other buildings look kind of like this. So you can tell that it's an absolute horrible investment. Even if you had a nation that has some level of tourism, this wouldn't be justified. It's way too big. It's humongous. And it reminds me of the same thing that you can see in North Korea. They also have a similar hotel. And again, North Korea is a country that not a lot of people visit. Like, these hotels are never going to be filled. The author of the article even makes a joke that the only reason they're big is so that the KGB could hide the bugs in them. But in reality, I think I know why they are so huge. You see, communism was a lot about showing face, a lot about facade. So the idea of building a huge hotel like this was to show that there is a lot of tourism going on. Is to convince the people that, especially like the people coming from outside the country, that, you know, they have such magnificent hotels, and maybe you just didn't happen to come during the tourist season, but you can only imagine how the hotel would look like when it's bursting with people. And this, you know, cost a lot of money, obviously. Like, the idea of socialism is that you seize the means of production because people are greedy, they're evil by nature. But you seize the means of production and you give it to the government, which is now run by the workers, and the workers are going to redistribute the wealth properly. And this is the result. You know, in a nation that was starving, this is the result. And any company that would try to pull this shit off would go bankrupt. Like, it's not feasible. You can't even make a profit out of this. But of course, you know, the government can make a profit because they think, well, the taxpayer will always pay. And if not, the money printer can go brrrr. Unfortunately, even if the money printer goes brrrr, the material and the resources required to construct this abomination, they don't go brrrr. So what ends up happening is the USSR economy collapses because this is just a one-off. Like, they would constantly do these things. They would constantly construct things or build things that the economy didn't need it. They would put people in positions that the economy didn't need it. The economy was way too bloated, and the money printer went brrrr, and that was it. But what's fascinating about it, right, is now that the communism has fallen and you manage to regain control over the nation's economy, you look at this monstrosity and you realize, okay, well, what are you going to do with it? You know, now that it's built. So the government doesn't want to destroy it because it's a symbol of socialism. And I get it. You know, I mean, it's already there. Fine. You know, I'm not like the woke ideology that goes like, we need to burn it down, tear it down. No, it's like, okay, fine. It's built. It's there. I mean, again, look at the rest of the city. Look how the other buildings look compared to it, right? Because this is a very poor nation. Again, one of the poorest nations in Europe. This is how it looks like. And then you have like this monstrosity, right? So what are you going to do with it? I would have personally tried to sell it off. But the question is, who on earth is going to buy it? Well, the Jews are going to buy it, unironically. An Israel nation called Avi Awaks tried to buy it for $1.55 million. But because they didn't pay, gee, I wonder why they got sued, and the hotel went back into the charge of the state. So in other words, the Jewish people went like, oh crap, like why did we buy this? Okay, is it cheaper if we just get sued at this point? And you know, they got sued, they had to give it back. Now, the most logical and humane thing to do, in my opinion, if I was the government, I would try to make it so that you adapt it for housing. Like literally just rent it for people so that you can have, you know, the people who can't afford the house, just have like a little bit of rent there. Now, I know it's a hotel, so maybe you'd have to change it a little bit, refurbish it a little bit, but you can get a private company to do that, so you're creating jobs. Like making sure everyone has a bathroom in their room, you know, like making sure that, I don't know, like whatever is needed so that people can live there in one room apartment. And all of a sudden you would create a lot of housing and the people there would pay rent. So you could make money like that. Office buildings, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think the Moldavian economy is booming like that in order to create it for office buildings. And again, it's a hotel room, so might be difficult. But that would be the correct thing to do, in my opinion. Just like make it so people can live there. But again, I don't think the Moldavians, the ones in charge, the people in power, I don't even know who's in power in Moldavia. They had elections recently. I don't think that they literally give a shit. Right? So you now have this monstrosity, which I don't even know who wants to go there. And take into account, like, there's other hotels in Moldavia, right? So this is not the only one. But, like, in my opinion, if this was the only building in Moldavia, it would never be filled, given how their tourism is going. I'm not saying Moldavia is not a nice place to visit, but what I'm saying is that if you travel a little bit more, you enter Russia. And there's some nice monasteries over there. There's more interesting things to see. So the only people that go to Moldavia, most of them are people who are traveling there in business. And again, like all of this would be more than sufficient, more than ample. I mean, even in Romania, in most cities, except maybe like 3 or 4, this would be overkill. But that's what you get when you have communists at the helm. That's what you get when people who don't respect other people's money get to flounder other people's money. And you have this abomination. Just look at it. Look. Look. I don't know if it's in still disrepair. Maybe the pictures are old, but if you do a Google search, it's what you find. And I couldn't find a single picture of how it looks inside, so maybe someone from Moldova can tell me. Let me know what you guys think, though. I'll see you in the comment section, and if you like this video, please share it around. Take care.